All right, hello everybody in the XRP community. This is Neil, and I'm creating my second video regarding XRP Bitcoin price, XRP USD price, and also some other news that's coming up. So stay tuned. I'm going to be covering a good amount of information. Now, last time, my very first YouTube video, I wanted to talk about the XRP Bitcoin chart. And we talked specifically about these two main trend lines. One of them is a trendline consolidation from the bull run in May of 2017. And the second one is from the top of the bull run in January of 2018. Now, those consolidation lines I've followed and kind of worked on getting as exact as I can. And we talked about some of those support levels and why those lines are the way they are. And then I talked about how for a couple months, the price was squeezed in between these support lines from January of 2019 until about April of 2019. Now, at that point, the trend, the price came under the bottom trend line here, and we have experienced a consolidation. We found support over the past 2 months that has been a really consistent support for us, and we bounced around in between in there. And now I decided to create my video, my first YouTube video, the moment I saw this breakout occur right here. So there was a nice breakout that occurred as we followed this trend line up, the support, and we were able to bounce out of the bottom trend line, the one from May 16th, 2017. So that's a 2-year-long trend line. Now, I got really excited as I saw that we were attempting to break out of the second trend line, the one from January 4th of 2018. Now, unfortunately, we were rejected at that point, and we came down here. This is about the point where I created my video, and I was really optimistic. I was excited because I was hoping that we would see a consolidation into this corner here, and that we'd finally see a break above that consolidation line, which we haven't seen yet. Now, unfortunately, my little XRP analyst heart was broken, and we fell below this supporting trend line on Saturday afternoon, and then on Sunday morning we woke up to a real push downward, and that downward push in price actually took us below this long-term consolidation line, and we broke down under that trend line, and we have been now rising up and pushing up against it. To show you that more exactly, I'm going to go to the 4-hour chart and show you that we have been pushing up against this resistance right here, and we are now sitting under that bottom trend line. Now, that's bad news, and I'm sorry to break it to you all, but the hope is that we can get enough volume that pushes us back through this and pushes us through the top trend line. One of my theories or thoughts is that we might be able to push back through this bottom trend line and go through a tight consolidation between the two trend lines when they finally merge together and then pop out as a result. That's one theory that I have, but you know, the sky's the limit with some of this stuff. Now, I don't have enough information about what our new bottom support is right now, so I'm looking for more data over time that will tell me if there's a bottom support that I need to draw. Now, I'm going to move on to the XRP US Dollar chart, where a lot of you spend your time, where you're very excited. I have created trend lines for that as well. Major trend lines are in red, and then these green trend lines are kind of minor trend lines that are supports and resistances that you'll see in just a minute. Now, we have base support that we have kind of held to this whole entire time. And we have other trend lines that have been consolidation trend lines, like this bottom one here was one that I was very focused on for a long time. And that trend line took us to a breakout in the XRP US dollar price that took us all the way up to 48 cents. It was a magical time. You might remember in the middle of May. In the middle of May, we were kind of actually getting trapped even below the supporting trend line, and we had a lot of volume. In fact, that was the biggest day of volume in cryptocurrency history, according to some articles that I read. And that major volume took us back above the trend line, took us out of these consolidation trend lines that we had, and pushed us right up to 48 cents. Now, what's happening right now is I drew a trend line from the top of the bull run of December 2017 or January 2018, and what's happening right now is we have been experiencing a consolidation where we're trying to push up out of this trend line. In fact, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 attempts to make that happen, and they have been unsuccessful. Even this morning, we saw that XRP price was trying to get above 40 cents. Here, we're talking about 40.8 cents, 40.9 cents that we got up to on the Binance US Dollar chart. And we couldn't make it happen. We fell back down. Now, you'll think of these green lines kind of as rungs on a ladder. They are the supports or resistances. They, depends on if you're above or below those lines in price, but they are acting as the resistances and supports. And I drew those way before this breakout even happened. I drew them based on the trends that I'd been seeing through all of this stuff in here. So these lines are kind of our rungs in the ladder. Now, if we cannot break out of this nice consolidation pattern before we reach the end, that means that we may see the price of XRP drop all the way down to about 33.2 cents. Now, hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we get a nice breakout before that, but we could see ourselves come into this corner of our consolidation, find the support, and finally break out of that long-term trend line. So these trend lines are huge for us getting better in upward price action. If we don't break through them, it's not going to happen. So let's cross our fingers that it happens soon. Now, here are some things that could cause it to happen sooner than later. Anyway, we're going to move on to some current events that are going on right now. Well, you might remember that in the middle of May, Brad Garlinghouse gave a presentation to the IMF and also many governors of central banks at a Swiss National Bank conference. And I reported on it. I actually watched the video, and I found and I identified as many people as I could in that video. And I put out a tweet thread about it, and I got a lot of attention. In fact, every major YouTube channel reported on it, and I'm grateful that they gave me a nice little shout out. But you had Christine Lagarde, you had Tobias Adrian, who was the financial counselor, is the financial counselor and director for the International Monetary Fund. If we're talking about central bank governors, we had the governor of the South African Reserve Bank, the governor of the Bank of Israel, the governor of the Central Bank of Thailand, the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, the JP Morgan Chase International Chairman, governor of the Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority, and it kept going. One important person you'll see here is Augustine Carstens, who is the general manager of the Bank of International Settlements. Now, so this happened in the middle of May, where Brad Garlinghouse gave an awesome presentation. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's about XRP and using it as a liquidity tool and how it's going to bridge other currencies, fiat currencies of the world. Now, just yesterday, we had the G20 Summit held for finance ministers and central bank governors in Fukuoka, Japan. Now, that G20 Summit meeting, I had referred to the G20 Summit as happening this past weekend. Now, somebody came back at me and they said, I thought the G20 Summit wasn't until June 28th and 29th. And that person was correct in the sense that that's the G20 Summit for presidents of nations, for the leaders of nations. But this G20 Summit was specifically for finance ministers and central bank governors. That happened this past weekend, where they actually came out and talked about they talked about cryptocurrencies. Christine Lagarde gave a great final remark on the fintech community and what's happening in fintech and how cryptocurrencies can be applied to create a better economic situation. Now, look in this photo. You have many of the same people that we saw at the meeting with Brad Garlinghouse. For example, here's Augustine Carstens. And if we look in this photo and we zoom in, well, oh, there's Augustine Carstens himself right there. Now here in the front row, we had, oh, there's Christine Lagarde. We have the governor of the Central Bank of Russia right there, the governor of the governor of the Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority. Here's the governor of the Central Bank of South Africa, and many others that we had seen in the meeting with Brad Garlinghouse. So they are putting together regulations, and I think they have Ripple and XRP in their minds as they're creating these regulations for what is going to come for the near future when it comes to utilization of cryptocurrencies. Okay, so here is a tweet that just came out this morning from TAS Group. Now, TAS Group has created a banking software solution called the Target 2 system. Now, in this tweet, they say, adapt or face extinction. They are currently at an event called EBA Day, and they say here, experience our latest liquidity management solutions and speak to our experts about T2 and T2S. Now, the Target 2 system, well, that specifically is what they're saying is what provides their latest liquidity management solutions. But wait, what is their liquidity management solution? What liquidity management solution do we know exists beyond Nostro Vostro accounts? Well, I think you're thinking of XRapid there. And you'll see here that if we look at this timeline for implementation of Target 2 release, well, on April 29th, 2019, they had a go live for the Target 2 release of 12.1, but the changes were kept dormant. So we had a dormant period. And June 10th, which is, well, this morning, we had the go live of the Target 2 system release 3.0. And users are to upgrade their production environment to ISO 20022. So it's kind of neat that the TAS Group put out this tweet right here, adapt or face extinction, talking about their latest liquidity management solutions for the Target 2 system on the day that we had the go live for the Target 2 system in their timeline. So very interesting stuff, everybody. Now, just to finish off, I want to let you guys know that I'm looking forward to the 2019 G20 Osaka Summit, where leaders of the G20 nations are going to be getting together and talking about more regulations. So I think part of the aspect of having the G20 Summit for your finance ministers and managers, governors of central banks, was to prepare and get regulations set up for some of these leaders of the G20 nations to sign off on those regulations that were created from the G20 Summit that we just witnessed. So that's what I have for you all today, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. And please help me to improve my information by commenting. Let me know what's going on, what you think, and give me some critiques. Anyway, I hope you all have a great week, and I will talk to you soon.